All right. There's about 7 people waiting in the waiting room, so I'll just let them all in right now and we'll get started. Okay, hi everyone. I'm Anna Swartz. I'm the administrative assistant at the School of Management. Today we have 3 alumni here to answer your career and college questions. So I'll be asking the questions to the panel, but if you have any questions, you can put it in the chat or raise your hand and we'll try to address those as well. So Jazzmin, we'll start with you. If you could just introduce yourself and what degree you received in your year of graduation, your job title, and your company.
Yes. Hi, everyone. Hey, Jacob. I see some familiar faces on here, so welcome. My name's Jazzmin Scott. I graduated with a bachelor's in business administration with a focus in human resources and organizational development in 2021. I currently work at the Flint and Genesee Group under the Education and Talent Division, serving as the Talent Development and Attractions Manager for the area.
Thanks, Jasmine. Yuliia?
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Yuliia Lane. I graduated with my BBA in business administration with the concentration in international business and marketing. I currently work for a design agency in Rochester. It's called Trent Creative. My title is Account Services and Project Manager. Thank you.
Thanks, Yuliia. You're having a little bit of lag time. Just wanted to let you know. Josh?
Hey everybody, my name is Josh Galbreath. I graduated twice from UM-Flint actually. I have a bachelor's in business administration in 2012 and I got my MBA in healthcare administration in 2014. I'm currently the operations manager here at Maxim Healthcare Services at our location in Flint.
Thanks, Josh. Okay, Jasmine, how did you decide on your career path after graduation?
Yes. So I actually had my career path before I graduated. I participated in SYI, which is our summer youth initiative that we host in the area. And through working at Mott Community College in the Career Resource Center, that's where I found my passion to help people find employment, help with their resume building, things like that. And that was about my last year working with SYI. And from there, I knew I wanted to go into HR. What area of HR was still the question, but I knew I wanted to do something in this field for sure.
Thanks. Yuliia?
Sorry, I think I was having some technical difficulties. Let me know if you can hear me better now.
Yep, we can hear you. It's just your camera's lagging.
Oh, okay. Thank you.
Mhm.
Um, I believe, well, my, I guess like my career path was a bit untraditional. I originally I moved to Michigan actually in 2017, and I originally graduated with the engineering degree, which at that time seemed like that was the path I wanted to go. But later on, after graduating in 2023 with my degree in marketing and international business, I wanted to go more of a creative route. So I decided to look for a field where I could advance my creative skills. And that's what led me to finding a position with the branding and design agency.
Great, thank you. Josh?
Yeah, mine was a little different after I graduated with my bachelor's degree. I wasn't really sure what I wanted to do. I knew I wanted to work in healthcare, and there was a point in time I thought I wanted to work in healthcare in a hands-on role. And as I got closer to graduating, I knew that wasn't it for me. So, um, being able to kind of lay out what I was interested in and then look for positions that led me to that really led me to Maxim at that point. So, being in a position where we truly can help people, which is what we do here, that comes into play with the other things that I found interesting in the business world as it related to healthcare was was really what led me to where I'm at now. So.
Thanks, Josh. Jazzmin, were there any unexpected challenges or surprises along the way of when you were trying to decide your career path?
Yes, I didn't realize how big HR could be. So, like when people think of HR, they think of some core things such as benefits, payroll, recruiting, employee relations. But like the position I'm in today, talent development is a segment of HR. And so I think it's important to dive deep into what your overall goal is, but dive deep into what does that look like and what job titles are you able to get with that degree.
Thanks, Jazzmin. Yuliia?
I think any path comes with certain challenges, so mine wasn't an exception. And I think particularly changing, going from one that it's more like a STEM related field to more of a creative, I guess I was just not sure as much as like the new things that I would need to speed learn and being able to face those things in a very speedy matter, because I wanted to make sure that I was fully aware of all the different things that I would need to do on my day-to-day basis. But I think now looking back, those were just some of my preconception of like, the things that we often think like we are not good enough, maybe when we really are, and all you have to do is just to push yourself and see it for yourself. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. Thank you. Josh?
Yeah, I think for me personally, it was more along the lines of finding the right fit at the right place for me. I wasn't in a position really to be able to relocate, and driving to maybe the Metro Detroit area from where I lived also wasn't really that realistic. So going through lots of different companies and interviews, and again, trying to find the right fit was something maybe I should have anticipated more than I did at the time. So,
Live and learn, right?
yeah.
Jazzmin, what skills or experiences from college have been most helpful in your career?
I remember everything I learned in Professor Rita Field's class. She was just the best, and that's some like the skills, the way she carried herself, the way she taught us. Those are things I always follow, especially either with Professor Jerry and his background of automotive. That kind of inspired me to consider going into the automotive field to see if HR would be a great fit for me in that area as well. So just taking what my professors have learned and gleaning from them in those areas have really helped me. Even though they say like, what I learned in college, I don't apply in real life, but sometimes it's about what they teach you, what they say to you that sticks in your memory forever.
Nice. Yuliia?
Well, I feel like there's so many. It's really hard to just kind of like focus on one thing. I feel like just the way my program was built really prepared me to face pretty much anything. I love all the opportunities that I've had to go abroad, which prepared me to work with people with the different backgrounds, especially going into a field where you really need to know how to present creative direction. It's not just putting instructions in a sheet. You have to word it in a certain way. So I feel like in general, my degree was very well built in terms of providing me with the tools and resources I needed. And later on, when I found my current position, I really enjoyed having all those resources that were provided for me by School of Management. And absolutely, there's many different professors that I can mention, but I feel like maybe I can dive into those later on. Thank you.
Josh?
Yeah, I think for me personally, at least in the position I'm in now, there were some that are technical skills and knowledge as it relates to like healthcare management through different economics and how that works specifically in the healthcare field through my master's program. But I think some of those other soft skills were really helped developed at U of M too, like the critical thinking and trying to overcome objections in like a negotiation class. Those are things that have stuck with me really this whole time since I graduated, for sure.
Josh. Jazzmin, what are some helpful resources you used on campus?
Yes, so while I was on campus, definitely use the resources of my professor's office hours because some things were really difficult, but I love the opportunity to be able to go talk with them one-on-one to really understand. Also, being able to get involved with the different clubs that we had. So I was really involved with our SHRM chapter that we had on campus as well. And then making sure that I was trying to be as present as possible to the many different events that School of Management was hosting, or always just trying to be in the know of what was going on to see if there was an opportunity that I could take advantage of to learn more or to grow myself as well.
Thanks, Jazzmin. Yuliia?
I think when I look back, one of the main resources that I took I took a big advantage of was being able to be involved with different organizations. In particular, I was involved with Entrepreneur Society as well as Hagerman Center. I enjoyed everything um, that I wanted to kind of like ask questions about, and our advisors were fantastic. We did a lot of event planning, which right now I feel like over the past years, like I knew what it needed to be done in terms of create an event and all of the event planning and all the agendas that I have set for multiple meetings and meeting with different students to discuss innovative ideas provided me that presenting skills, which I feel like right now benefits me a lot because I meet with multiple people from different companies, whether it's business to business or with different clients. So I feel like that definitely helped me a lot to prepare me for my career.
I feel like the Entrepreneur Society doesn't give you a choice. Like you got to be big and bold and extroverted in that in that
You
work.
have to go and get it. Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Josh?
I think in my time there, the department I probably leaned on the most was maybe in the careers department. So being able to go to job fairs, and it wasn't even necessarily at the time that I was going to them that I was looking for a job, but being able to use it to build connections is something that was helpful to me. Again, career services also helped me get an internship while I was still in my undergraduate program. So I got to know the people in those departments quite a bit back then.
Thanks, Josh. Jazzmin, how did U of M-Flint help you prepare for your job and field? We kind of discussed this a little bit.
Yes, I would say when I was coming up on looking for my internship, I worked very closely with Antonio Riggs, and he was just a great support system in helping me prepare my resume, helping me with letters of recommendation, sending me out to different employers in the area looking for someone like me to come into their organization. And so, like, being able to utilize him really helped me prepare for now landing a job after college. And Justin, I work with Justin closely too, and he does a wonderful job too. So you guys have a really great person on your hands, and make sure you connect with Justin as much as possible.
Thanks, Jazzmin. Yuliia?
Well, I feel like there's multiple, again, there's so many different things that U of M-Flint campus and School of Management does to prepare their students and graduates after they graduate, including myself. I feel like everything that I learned in my classes that were related to marketing and strategy and branding really helped me to understand how to build a brand, how to maybe rebrand certain things, how to work with style guides and such. So that was on more of a skills. And as Jazzmin mentioned, we have a wonderful career services that SOM offers. And I was also one of them who benefited. Justin Skibbin, who's here on this call, was the one who was helping me to just do some mock-up interviews, really build the confidence of speaking about my background and how my background and my skill set fits into the job descriptions that I were interested in. Again, the industries. So yes, it was wonderful. He's a great resource. And if any of you who are on this call is in need of just looking at your resume or maybe get some networking opportunities, definitely reach out to him. He's great.
Thanks, Yuliia. Josh?
Yeah, for me, I mean, outside of the career services part I already mentioned, I found it incredibly helpful with just the level of professors that we had at U of M at the time. They had so much real world experience in a lot of the industries that I was interested in. And Jazzmin mentioned this too. They were always pretty open and readily available to have discussions and being able to use that real world experience to give additional insight and context around the discussions we were having and what you expect when you actually go from the classroom to the working world was something that I think, again, was incredibly helpful for me personally.
Thanks, Josh. I do have a follow-up question for you. We have a career fair coming up in October, and I know you've been a vendor employer rep at them. What do you recommend for students that are preparing for the career fair and approaching your table?
Yeah, I think I mentioned this already. I would go to career fairs even if you're not actively looking for a job first to, again, build connections and even learn more about industries or companies that you didn't know were potentially local to you. But when you're attending a career fair, obviously having your resume ready, students should practice quote unquote elevator pitch on themselves, really, like what they're going to school for, what they're interested in at the time, and then having some questions prepared for companies that they know for sure are going to be at that career fair that they do want to talk to. I would say it would be a few quick bullet points that are helpful.
Thanks, Josh.
Mhm.
Jazzmin, what were some of your favorite classes?
Okay, I really like the employment law class that I took. That kind of had me thinking like I want to become an employment lawyer, but then yeah, no. So that was the favorite class. I love taking international business. Economics was challenging, but I feel like it has also helped me in my analytical thinking and really trying to critically think about things. So that prepared me, even though it's challenging, it was still something that I could take from that class to apply to my life and my career today.
Thanks, Jazzmin. Yuliia?
Well, I feel like I also have a lot of classes that I enjoyed taking, but I feel like my top favorite would be international business, as it was my major in my BBA. I'm also completing my MBA program right now, so I also have like a little bit of a like conflict of like right now what is like up to date. Like I took last semester, and obviously like from my undergrad I also enjoyed the many marketing classes that I have taken. Again, it was just for everyone it would be whatever interests you the most, but for me it was also like my major and what I wanted to do and how I could benefit from these classes and the coursework.
Thanks, Yuliia. Josh?
Yeah, I think my favorite class in undergrad was probably negotiation, actually. I really enjoyed both the coursework, the different, they weren't presentations, but we had to go out, and one of the things was actually to go out as a group to something non-work or non-school related at the time. So me and some people went to a comedy show and had to relate that into negotiation later. But I think that was probably my favorite undergrad class. It just, I mean, at some point in your life, everything is somewhat of a negotiation, whether that's for you or whatever it is in your own personal life too. So that probably in my MBA program, I'm a bit of a math nerd, I would say. So economics from a healthcare administrative standpoint was something I enjoyed a lot too. So being able to more use the financial data to help drive decisions at companies is something that's increasingly important today. So
Thanks, Josh. Jazzmin, if you had to do it all over again, what would you do differently?
That's a good question. If I had, and this is good because I have a younger sister who is entering UM-Flint now. What I told her based off of what I would do differently is just go straight through and try to get both your bachelor's and master's. So do the program that the university offers to get both at the same time. I did not do that, and now I'm considering going back for my master's. And so that is one thing I would do differently, and also making more connections and talking more to people and really just getting out of my comfort zone.
Thanks, Jazzmin. Yuliia?
I feel like I would just do it all over again in the same. I had a really good experience, so I feel like looking back, I kind of have that moment of like I loved it so much and I would do it again because I loved it so much. I loved being involved. I loved my major. I loved going on study abroad trips. I enjoyed getting out of my comfort zone. I enjoyed getting an internship. I went to couple opportunities that were more of like networking. I loved everybody that went to school with me. I made connections. So I guess I would just do it all over again. And I feel like in general, if I were to give a tip to someone, if it would be me, just like keep on, put yourself out there. Like people will not know who are you or what you're passionate about if you do not tell them. So go out there, and again, like if you have the opportunity, if you see it like in your future, like go for that joint BBA MBA. That's what I did. I have one class left, and I'm excited to walk in December and be done with my MBA. Just feel this accomplishment and see how much it will contribute to my career moving forward.
Thanks, Yuliia. Josh?
Yeah, I might be dating myself a little bit here, but when I first started at U of M through my undergraduate, there was no student housing. So I would say that U of M-Flint just didn't have as much going on as they do now. And I think because of that, I probably didn't get as involved in things as I could have. It was just easy not to when it wasn't front and center all the time. So if I could go back, I would definitely be more involved in other programs and groups and organizations than I was. Um, I think also one other thing, if I could go back and redo my MBA thing, and this is more work related, I'd probably either do what Jazzmin said all at once or find a company that would also assist with paying for it. I know a lot of those exist now, and it just didn't even occur to me to do that at the time over 10 years ago. So those would probably be the couple things.
Nice. I am dating myself too because I graduated before the dorms were built. And so the only way I really got involved was I was a student worker on campus, and I met a lot of friends that I'm still friends with today, working on campus. So that's my little spiel right there. Jazzmin, what's your most proud moment from U of M-Flint?
Making it through the pandemic.
Yeah.
That was my most proudest moment, and being able to walk across that stage. Me and my husband met at the university, so we graduated at the same time. So that was a really special moment for us too. But I think just having the willpower to continue through above everything else that was going on in the outside world, just pushing through, I think that was my most biggest achievement.
Definitely. Thanks, Jazzmin. Yuliia?
My biggest achievement at U of M-Flint was graduating with my BBA in International Business and Marketing, and also being named the Maize and Blue Scholar. And after receiving that recognition, I also was selected to become a commencement speaker. And never, like, I feel like right now when I'm talking about it, my heart is beating fast because I think to the moment where I was entering the stage to give a speech and seeing all my peers in a crowd and all the other graduates just puts me in in that immerseful joy that we did it, and we continue to grow, we continue to learn. We are walking out of the stage with these degrees that we worked so hard for, and we should be proud, and we should continue to carry on the legacy why education is so important and it's so empowering for all of us.
Yeah, definitely. Josh?
I think for me, it was just being able to work full time through both my undergraduate and graduate degrees. I mean, that's tough to do, I think, with full caseloads and all the classes we take. So being able to do that at times, I would even have a second job at the mall. So U of M afforded me the luxury with the class offerings and such to be able to do that as well. So that was important to me.
Thanks, Josh. Jazzmin, what do employers look for in new graduates? So to kind of prepare these upcoming graduates, what do employers look for?
Yes, from a recruiting aspect, which I've done, so that's my preface. We look for individuals who are confident, who can speak well about themselves. We know you're not coming in with a lot of experience, but we want to know that you are confident that whatever position you're applying for, you can do it, and you're expressing your experience, your skills, your learnings well communicated to us so that that can translate to us to let us know that you would be a great fit at our organization. And sometimes don't be scared to show your personality. So like if you're a fun, lively person, make sure you're showing that off in the interview, because that can add some points, because we want to see who you really are. We don't want to just see that you're nervous. Be able to communicate and showcase your personality too.
Thanks, Jazzmin. Yuliia, do you have any advice?
Just kind of like to piggyback right from what Jazzmin said. Just be yourself, and in some ways, like when you're just graduating, and for example, if you don't have 2-3 years of experience, but your degree counts as experience as well, especially if you've been involved with different organizations. I think that makes a big difference, because you not only you completed your degree, you also step out of your comfort zone, you were involved, you were involved with your community, or maybe you volunteered somewhere where it can be just really showing to your character that you care, show that why are you passionate to get this job? Like, is that something that inspires you to do? Is it something that you're excited? It's not just the different classes you took, it's also what you bring to the table. Are you ready to go out there and show what you got? And if you don't know something, just be honest about it and be like, hey, I might not have so much confidence in this area, but this is where I bring the most of my skills and my expertise, and they can kind of like balance each other, and just go out there, look for opportunities that you're passionate, and they will come for you. Yeah.
Thanks, Yuliia. Josh?
I think for me personally, when I'm hiring people and really into entry level positions, it's the ability to show that they have some of the soft skills that we need here. Both of my panelists already mentioned, I understand you're not going to come to me with a ton of real world experience specifically in what we do here, but being able to describe how you have this critical thinking skill because of XYZ, whether it is some work experience or even relating it back to your college experience, being able to talk about that in an interview, again, really just show some of those soft skills that I think a lot of employers are looking for nowadays versus actual experience, and depending on the industry. So.
Yeah, you kind of just touched base on the next question. So, Jazzmin, are there any skills or certifications you recommend that aren't usually taught in college?
Skills or certifications not taught in college. I would say you do have public speaking classes, but if that is not a class that you can take or don't want to take, there's opportunities to find trainings. At the Flint and Genesee group, I put on a lot of business workshops, and through our workshops, we offer professional development training such as a public speaking, learning how to use AI. So really just trying to get connected with those organizations in your community for the workshops they put on, as ways to get things at a lower cost, but also be effective. As for certifications, looking at the degree you're getting and thinking about what certifications would benefit me. So like if you're trying to get project management, looking into how to get a project management certification. And there's a lot of programs out there, even local things in the community that can maybe help offset those costs. So it's all about getting connected with those around you and seeing how, we can help you reach those goals and certifications as well. Oh, and I also want to note that I don't have a HR certification. And so sometimes you may not need a certification right when you're in college. And so you may be able to wait a couple years until you're in your field to get that certification too. So it's not a rush that you have to have all of these things before you graduate. Because like Josh said, sometimes your company will pay for them.
Thanks. Yuliia?
I think certifications is definitely a strength, especially on your resume. If you're interested in a certain field where you could, I guess I would even suggest like go the background, like just type the title of the job that you want on LinkedIn and see, maybe check out a couple of the people who pops up maybe with an organization and see what they have on their profile. If they have that project management certifications, then they've been with the company for a few years, then it's probably benefiting them. And maybe even reach out, ask them, be like, hey, like I'm wondering, like, how has that certification helped you in your field? Get that firsthand answer and kind of like understand like what do you need in terms of succeeding in your career. I know LinkedIn also offers a lot of different certifications that you can take as a college student. I also believe that as a college student, you receive like a free membership so you can take them. I know I've taken a few and it came with my student email that I didn't even have to pay for them. I also would suggest looking into Coursera, some of the like newer platforms that people use. Again, I can speak on terms of like what is important if you're going to be working for like a design industry, or maybe you're looking for something more STEM. It's up to you, but everything can strengthen your application if you're looking to go on something that would be like, if they see a candidate who has like business analytics certification and you're applying to be a business analyst, then you most likely will be chosen because you have business analytics certifications on top of your degree. So it's definitely a plus. Definitely, I would recommend going out and seeing, and maybe even asking your professor. Maybe they could recommend something, and they might, again, network, get those certifications. It never hurts, and you will feel more like a strong candidate when you apply for a job.
Yeah, you are correct. The students do have access to the LinkedIn workshops and certifications through UM-Flint Ann Arbor, and you also have access to certain softwares as well, and Rosetta Stone and the Wall Street Journal. So, just so you guys know, you probably get a lot of emails, but some of those emails talk about the access you have through school and management. So, Josh?
Yeah, I think maybe outside of some of the things they've touched on already is, I think, finding a way to develop some of those soft skills that aren't necessarily driven at the school level, such as like having self-awareness and self-development is something that I think is really important to everybody in any industry, because you need to understand maybe where your weaknesses are, and then also understand how to create a plan to improve those weaknesses. So there's things out there for that. I mean, you can learn almost anything on YouTube nowadays, so I wouldn't sell YouTube short on any of the videos they have. I think similar to what you guys have mentioned already, there is a Michigan online platform that I think is driven through Ann Arbor that all students have access to. And I've actually taken a few courses through there that are free to alumni and current students that have there's just a multitude of different options. I think the most recent one I took was leading and managing diverse teams. So that was one of those that again are helpful, and you can really search through there and find things that are maybe specific to the industry you're trying to break into, or any little individual competencies that you want to work on for yourself.
Thanks, Josh. Jazzmin, what are some do's and don'ts of resumes and interviewing?
Yes, don't put your address on your resume. I'm just going to say that. Don't put your picture on your resume. Your resume should speak for itself without speaking of what you look like, what race you are, where you live, those types of things. Leave those off, please. That's the only dues I have right now. But making sure that you contact, if you don't have a resume, making sure that you contact Justin to get a resume. I would highly suggest, if that's your first resume being created, have Justin review it, because he works with a lot of companies and he can tell you, like, this is where we can change, this is what we can do. Interviews, do's and don'ts, please be on time. That means 5-10 minutes early, making sure you're shaking hands, you're dressed professionally, and you're speaking well for yourself. It's okay to say, can I have a moment to think about that question? It's okay to vocalize if you need a moment to think, but just making sure that you have confidence in yourself, even if you're nervous, just making sure you're taking a deep breath and you're truly being present in that moment to answer those questions as accurately as possible. And just know at the end of the day, if you don't get it, there's something better coming for you.
Thanks, Jazzmin. Yuliia?
Well, I would say that definitely a do is do some research on the company that you're interviewing for. I think when you're coming for an interview and there is a common question of like what interests you in working here that can benefit you because you already would be a little bit more familiar. It will give you an up a notch in terms of like knowing what is the culture of this company. It's very often that you're going to a resume or to an interview and you bring in your resume and you're prepared to answer questions. But I would say that it's as much as you're interviewing for a job, you should not feel like you do not have the right to not only answer these questions, but also ask them. So definitely prepare 2 or 3 questions, like what is like to work for your team? What is like, what is a day to day? What kind of milestones would you want the person for this job to achieve within 3 to 6 months? Like, I feel like people want to know a little bit more, like what is your background, but also they're excited to see that you're also contributing. Some of the don'ts, I guess, like definitely what Jazzmin mentioned, like do not put your personal information on the cover. If if read the job description, if it says that you need to include cover letter within your resume, do so. I think there's so many different little mistakes that people make out of either not having enough time to read it through, or just analyzing the job description can really give you so much. And again, reach out to Justin if you have some doubts, maybe you feel like not prepared, maybe you feel like you just need somebody else to look over your resume, so that looks great. Yeah, tailor your skills, see what, network, reaching out to somebody from a company. And again, LinkedIn, it's a great resource in terms of looking up a company and see if there's any alumna from your school that works there. And people are kind and they will always encourage you if you're interested in applying for a role and you know that there's a few alumnus there, just sending them a message and introducing yourself, maybe asking like, hey, what do you like about this job? Like, I'm interested in applying. Maybe you can connect me to a hiring manager. So yeah, thank you.
Thanks, Yuliia. Josh?
Yeah, I think some of it, obviously, they mentioned already. So, doing the research on the company prior to the interview is huge for a multitude of different reasons. And there's so many options out there now, from just their website to Glassdoor, LinkedIn. I mean, a lot of companies have Facebooks and Instagrams now that give you a little bit of insight into what they're up to. But then using that research you did to come prepared with questions, and not questions for the sake of asking questions, but questions specific to things you found during that research that you can ask somebody to elaborate on, or things along those lines, but then using that information to also be prepared to talk about how your education or experience sets you up to be a good fit for the role. So I think research with meaning is important. One of the things that I rarely get now that always does stick with me is sending a follow up thank you email to the person that interviewed you if you have their contact info. That does go a long way, again, because I don't see that much anymore. I think some of the don'ts Jazzmin mentioned, please do not be late, but I also understand that emergencies do happen. So if you are going to be late, please call and let somebody know that you're going to be late for whatever reason. I think another couple things are maybe just sticking to one word answers in your responses is something you should try and avoid. Elaborate when you can. Just again, my goal is to potentially ask you questions that I don't think you're prepared for because I want to see what your critical thinking skills are. And Jazzmin mentioned this too. It's okay to pause to think about it. So being able to listen to hear and understand during the interview versus listening to respond. I think those are probably the few don'ts that are big for me.
Thank you. Jazzmin, can you describe your typical, or I guess not so typical day?
No day is the same here with the group. Typically, if we have a workshop, I'll go to our workshops, network. We may have a chamber luncheon that day, go out and network there. But when I'm at my desk, I'm really working on our Make Your Move program to help individuals find employment in the area, working on our Flint Terms program and what that will look like next year, and really just prepping for 2025 right now, which is very crazy to say. But yes, that is what my life looks like right now, is preparing for 2025 and all the great things we have coming up.
Thanks, Jazzmin. Yuliia?
Yes, every day is a different day, different project, but I try to stay consistent with all the little tasks and small tasks that needed to be addressed, such as planning, reaching out to clients, following up on the progress, monitoring communication between the clients and the company, doing research, maybe even looking into different strategies that could be applied. Sometimes I also take opportunities to help out with the production, whatever is needed. I actually feel like I really enjoy my job because it's every day, it's something new, something different, and it's never boring, which time goes really fast. And I feel like I always get excited whenever there's a new project coming up, or maybe there's a change and it needs to be addressed and put into production. So yeah, I feel like every day it's a new opportunity to do something great.
Thanks. Josh?
Yeah, I don't know that I really have a very specific day to day here either. I mean, there's duties that I do consistently, which is some of it's overseeing the team. So I'm the administrator at our office, so I'm essentially responsible for literally everything that happens here, but that doesn't mean I'm doing everything. So being able to have one-on-one meetings with my direct reports is something that I would say is pretty consistent. But then I am at times out of the office. I'm meeting with hospital case managers. I'm meeting with prospective families and patients. It ebbs and flows when we need to hire. So sometimes pivoting to having to do what we call pipelining. So finding candidates maybe when we don't have openings or when we do have openings. So that would change my perspective on, okay, now I need to start setting up interviews because I have an active opening, which again changes my day to day. So a lot of different things. It's never the same day for me either around here.
Yeah, I used to ask the question typical day, and every time someone answered, it's like, I don't have a typical day, so I'm adjusting the way I say it now. So, Jazzmin, what do you like best about your job? What is the most satisfying part? What aspects, I guess, are most appealing?
Yes, I've had many jobs, you all. And I will say I've been in my position for 6 months, and I can confidently say that I've done more in this job than any job I've had. And it has been so rewarding and fulfilling because I'm placed in positions that I never thought I would be doing or be in. And so just taking the opportunity to come here and really just push myself to be better and step out of my comfort zone and really immerse myself into our community has really helped me. And so I'm really proud of the work that we're doing here, and I'm looking forward to the things that we have coming up as well.
Thanks, Jazzmin. Yuliia?
I feel like there's different things that I love about my job, but one of the top three is being able to navigate from different type of a project, whether it's print, whether it's digital, whether it's web, and knowing that those three different types of projects requires different things. So just going from one type of project to another really taught me how to be flexible, how to adjust the workflow between the different individuals who are on the project, how to work with freelancers, how to work with my coworkers to achieve the best results. I think thus far this year, my favorite projects that we worked on was during NFL draft. We created signage for downtown Detroit that was held end of April. And my background is actually the logo that was created for the draft day in the team. So it's right here.
Nice.
It was a very important piece of this year that we worked on, and this project just I feel like it brought so many different skills and time management and how to coordinate, how to deliver things faster, how it's just really taught me a lot about how to work with people within your team, with external partners, and just get things in order. So I really enjoy that part of my job, that I get to work on different projects every day and learn every day, which I think is an essential part in me that I really enjoy.
Yeah, your answer reminded me of everyone in college dreads the group project work, but your answer just shows proof of how much you work in teams and in groups at your job. So even though we might dread that part of class, obviously you learned your skills and you learn to work with a team as you build your career. So
Absolutely, yes. It's almost like those group projects that you had during your courses were just like a tiny little glimpse of what is the real life like, and that collaboration really comes essential when it comes to a very large scale projects where there are so many people involved, and you may not know, like, oh, what is this person does? What am I doing? Like, how to bring everyone together on the same page. But yeah, it's something that I really enjoy. I enjoy the creative part of it, and just to kind of like summarize that, this particular month is the design month in Detroit, and tonight there will be Eastern Market after dark. So I'm looking forward to go there and just do some networking, get some goodies, just enjoy it. I love Detroit, and I love all the different things that it has to offer, as much as I also love Flint and Flint's farmers market. So those are my two favorite places to go shop, and tonight I will be doing one of them.
nice. Josh?
Yeah, I think for me, and without getting too far off on a tangent on what we do here, but essentially, like, we take care of kids in their home that have tracheostomies and ventilators. So a lot of who we hire are nurses. So, I mean, the thing to me is being able to help those patients. Like I mentioned, I was super interested in healthcare from the get-go and decided the hands-on part wasn't for me. So knowing that I'm still playing a really big role in the lives of both the patients and the families that we take care of is super satisfying. It's twofold too. So we're giving people gainful employment here. We're hiring, I mean, we have over 200 RNs and LPNs that work for us, and being able to help along with that part and taking care of the kids is, again, really satisfying from that perspective. So
Yeah, thank you. Just to remind students, if you have any questions, you can go ahead and just interrupt us at some point. But Jazzmin, how do you practice work-life balance?
Scheduling, prioritizing, putting it on my calendar like hey, I'm coming in today at 8, and then putting on my calendar, I'm leaving at 4. This device here can be very tricky sometimes because we like to put our emails on our phone, but just having the discipline to say, not tonight, not today, it can wait until tomorrow. My boss, she's great. She always just preaches to us work-life balance, saying, hey, making sure like you're not on late, like it can wait until tomorrow. That has been a great help too, is finding managers that really embody work-life balance and really preaches that to their team as well.
Yeah, our dean has a tagline, a signature line on his email that says, "My work hours might not be the same as yours. Please don't feel like you need to answer right away," or something like that. And I love that. Yuliia?
I try. I try to do a life work balance, but sometimes when it comes to something creative and it comes to something that I just like I go to sleep and I'm like, ah, I'm so like I'm excited or I'm thinking about it and I'm like, okay, my mind needs to just shut down. But in general, I think I do pretty well. But there's rare cases that I am guilty of maybe just thinking too much or just exploring some ideas, like driving home from work, and you would think like when that clock hits, you're like, okay, I'm done. But then you can't you can't help yourself. So sometimes, just be kind to yourself and just don't be hard. It's there's definitely a structure, but if it's something that you're really passionate and you're looking forward to make a difference, it can be hard at first, but after a while, you learn how to set those boundaries and have the schedule exactly like maybe scheduling it on your phone that like I'm not available after those hours really helps to build in that schedule. Using an organizer to help you kind of like plan out your day. And this just mentioned some things in the comment section. You have a 22-day period. Like when your application, when you're applying for jobs, for example, like if you applying for a role that will be different from your lifestyle, definitely consider like, are you interested in more of like that 8 to 4 or 9 to 5? How much is that going to interfere with your lifestyle? If you're more of a morning person, are you okay with being in the traffic for an hour if it's a longer commute? Or if you're applying for a role that will be more of the like 11 to 6 or 7? So just prepare yourself, whether you're in your current internship or your job, just really think about like what is your abilities and how not to get burned out when you accepted for a role that has a complete different schedule. So I just wanted to kind of give that a bit of a tip, side tip. Thank you.
Thanks, Yuliia. Josh?
Yeah, for me, I think it's a few different things. One is really ensuring that my time at work is spent wisely, diligently, being efficient, because at the end of the day, there's things I have to do that people are counting on me for. And if I have to stay later because I was messing around earlier in the day, then that's what I have to do. But another thing for me personally is just developing my team here to ensure they know how to handle things when I'm not here. So, um, and then piggybacking on that is using my PTO in a mindful way. So I save my time off and I use it in blocks for things that are what recharge me. And so I can come back here and be better at my role. So being able to travel for a week at a time or go to a national park are things that are important to me. So again, using the PTO that I'm afforded in ways that are meaningful to me is helpful in that.
Thanks, Josh. Jazzmin, do you have any professional failures you would like to share and how you overcame them?
Yes, I do. Even though I do not like to fail, it hurts me to fail. Um, but one professional failure that I will share is I wanted to launch an event and a program, and I felt like we had enough participation to move forward, but unfortunately, when the time came, we did not. And so I had to cancel our program for that moment, and that hurt because I felt like maybe I could have did something more. Maybe I could have, hounded people down to come. But I also feel like everything happens for a reason, and maybe that reason was for us to be able to focus more on what we had upcoming at the moment instead of just trying to add one more thing on to the plate. And so, like I tell myself, I'm not perfect. I will make mistakes, but it's all about holding yourself accountable and making sure you're owning up to it instead of just trying to cover it up and make it seem like it was okay to happen.
Thanks, Jazzmin. Yuliia?
I think nobody is perfect, and there will be things that you would feel like, oh, I should have known better. But everybody makes mistakes. The only difference is that whether you learn from those mistakes and you move on, and you try to use them as a learning opportunity. That's what I can say. Like in terms of overcoming that guilt of like maybe I should have, I would have. It's really hard, but we're all human. So just be realistic. Like, was that just your job, or was that like a whole different team that could have also helped just use others as way to provide you feedback. And if there's some things that could have gone differently, things happen for a reason, and you cannot be in charge of all the different aspects that go into a project. So definitely have that grace for yourself and for your team. The best way to move forward is just to learn and take a note and move forward, move with the knowledge that you acquired during that period.
Thanks. Josh?
I mean, failure where we work can be things like losing a patient for one reason or another, whether it's through poor customer service or not understanding expectations that were set. So that happens. I think they both mentioned already, mistakes come with really every job. So the biggest thing to me, and I've talked about this a little bit, is being able to reflect, doing the self-assessment, self-development, what went wrong, how could I personally have changed this? Maybe, I mean, it happens too at jobs where the expectations maybe were too high for the position that you have. So being able to have the confidence to talk to your supervisor about, hey, I think I was ill prepared for this. I thought I did everything I could, but I realized maybe I didn't. Or again, doing the self-reflection, self-development. Yuliia just mentioned was it all your fault sometimes, but those I think are the biggest things that go along with those professional failures.
Right. So we do have a question from one of the students, and this will be the last question in the panel. And then Jazzmin was hoping we could take a group photo. So if anyone was willing to turn their cameras on so we can get a quick photo, that would be great. Yuliia, did you want to say something else?
I also saw the question from Alex, but we can answer that when you guys are ready.
Yeah, we'll start. Jazzmin, so Alexander's asking, after completing 3 internships throughout my undergrad degree, one thing that I have heard from past coworkers is that you need to take advantage of every promotion or new job opportunity. From your experience, how do you know when it's time to ask for a promotion, move to a new job title, or even switch companies to help progress your career without seeming like you're job hopping?
Yes. Yes, Alex, this is a catch-22. From my experience, I will share that I was working at a mortgage company in closing, and there was an opportunity to move to employee relations, but it was a pay cut. And I took that jump because I knew that by me getting that experience in employee relations would help prepare my journey into HR and what I needed to do. So I did take the opportunity, even though it was a pay cut, because it was going to be a benefit for me. I will say that you all are young. You're just coming out of college. You're trying to figure out what area you want to land in. And so while you may want to stay with the company for a year, but you're like, there's no development here, I'm going to go somewhere else, be aware that that is a reflection on your resume. And depending on where you're trying to interview for next, that can be seen as, we don't know if they're going to be a reliable employee to bring into our organization, because it seems like where they're staying is only for a year. So if that is you, you're going to have to definitely speak to that in the interview process. So just be prepared for that. But I will definitely say whenever you have a new opportunity or a new promotion that comes up, really take into consideration if you're ready to make that move, if that's a move you're willing to make based on your home life, because with everything comes something else that you did not expect. So sometimes it's okay to just sit and grow as much as possible in the current role that you're in, and just always have that communication with your manager to say, hey, this is where I want to be. How can we work towards going to do that? Whether that's job shadowing another department, meeting with other people in the organization to learn more. So definitely take advantage of those opportunities as well.
Thanks, Jazzmin. Yuliia?
Alex, I think you have a wonderful question that I think it will benefit many students, whether you're a junior, whether you're a senior, and whether you're already graduated. First of all, great job on getting already 3 internships. I think many students don't realize, like, when you graduate, employers expect you to already have experience that is above just having your diploma. So that's a great and a huge plus that you already took advantages of those opportunities while you're in school. Again, when you're thinking about yourself in terms of your career and its development, it's often can be perceived that you might thinking like, oh, I might move somewhere. Maybe this would be a better opportunity for me, or a way for me to learn. I don't think people would take that as job hopping. I think it's a very, I don't know, it's just like a label that came up a couple years ago when people maybe like they stay at one job for a couple months and then they move without actually having a particular reason. If you feel like you see an opportunity that will benefit you in terms of your growth, you should never feel ashamed of taking it, because in the end of the day, where do you see yourself in 2 years? Where do you see yourself in 5 years and 10? So it's more of like, when you think about opportunities that are available, and from what you heard from your coworkers who were saying that you should take advantage of every promotion or every new job opportunity, I believe that it's should never be something bad. It should always be a way of reflecting on your growth and reflecting on where do you want to be within your career, and maybe create a timeline of something that where do you want to be within your career within a few months or few years. And that will give you a perspective and just something to go by. And if a right opportunity comes along, then it's up to you to take it or decline it.
Thanks, Yuliia. Josh?
I think for me, it's maybe a little different approach in the idea that I think this should start really in the interview process, is establishing what your connection is with that manager in that particular position, and then driving that accountability both ways throughout your time there. So part of my role here with my direct reports is we have bi-weekly one-on-ones that we talk about where they can improve, where they're doing well, what their career trajectory is here specifically at Maxim. So that's never a surprise to anybody. They should know where they're standing and what they should be working on for self-development really the entire time here. So part of my goal is to have my team ready for when promotional opportunities come available, either locally in our office, or we're a nationwide company, so there are promotional opportunities where that somebody would relocate. So I think just having that relationship with your manager, that you can seek out feedback and just know where you're standing in those positions, are probably some of the most important things to break through. And finding the right, not necessarily company, sometimes it's the right person in the right management position at the right company that's going to give you those things. So
Thanks, Josh. All right, Jazzmin, are you taking the picture?
Yes, I'm ready.
Okay, we'd love if you could just turn your cameras on for 1 second if you feel like it. Okay,
Okay.
tell us when to go.
Ready, set, go. Okay, I got it. Thanks
Thank
so much.
you. So that's the end of our career panel. Thank you to Josh, Yuliia, and Jazzmin for our alumni, your advice and your college experience, and thank you students for attending. Justin will follow up with all the students after this, and if you want to contact the alumni, they are on LinkedIn, or you can work with Justin or I. But that's it, and have a great day, guys. Thanks.
Thank
Thanks,
you.
everyone.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you, Jazzmin.